Hello everyone, I'm Silverraptor and welcome to another Wargame Red Dragon replay commentary video. For this day's game, I've got the map Korean Rocks, and I am joined with Bubblebox and his friend Gaddafi and Boy Bands, who I don't know if Gaddafi knows or not, but he was joined us into the game, and we were up against WIIW 1961. General Over, which I like that name, Leroy Jenkins 90, and Portugal Military will be our opponents today. For this map, Bubblebox and Gaddafi are playing Netherlands, West German decks, where the combination of the two nations, where I'm playing just a pure Netherlands nation. And I'll just hit start so that we can begin going, and hopefully you get to enjoy this game. So at the start, Gaddafi and I are going to be heading over onto this right side. I'm going to try to secure this town here, whereas Gaddafi is going to start with a little bit of an air push and then just start to push over into Foxtrot. Now, Bubblebox is here on the left, and now, as you can see, Boy Bands doesn't seem to be doing anything. His CV is just sitting here. He has no other troops on the field, so Bubblebox, we realized a little late that he's going to have to cover this whole left side all by himself, because we've already begun having our troops move down to the position, so hopefully Bubblebox can hold on to that. The enemy is sending some helicopters over here on the left, but Gaddafi and his anti-air helicopters with their Stinger missiles managed to successfully shoot down both transport helicopters as they were trying to drop off their infantry somewhere. They crashed alongside. A Ka-52 is coming, but the Tiger sees that, so they all back off. I've got a Laro Tow 2, attempting to take on a T-64, but the T-64 manages to get a nice square shot with its anti-tank missile. Tiger 2 then tries to engage with his Sackless, but it's getting pretty close to the Ka-52. And while the Tiger does go down, it distracts the Ka-52's anti-air enough that the other anti-air missiles, helicopters, are able to take it out. Meanwhile, I have dropped off 3 Stingers here, attempting to put them on this mountain. And what's nice about the mountain is that they can see high up and shoot any kind of aircraft in the area that might go over. And I also got some tanks and such here, which I will then beginning to put into this tree line and basically screen over here on the left side. On the right, I've dropped off all this infantry to come over this mountain range. And now I'm pushing with KCT, elite trained infantry. I'm not even telling them to, I'm not attack moving, I'm trying to run into the building where they can get cover away from these APCs and get into close combat range with these Motostroki, which I'm pretty sure they'll be able to rip apart, even though there's 2 squads of Motostroki here. And there he is. Boy Bands did leave, so that confirms that Bubblebox has to secure this entire left side, and we are now 3v4 against the enemy. Well, the KCTs are engaging here. I'm trying to get the Stingers up to shoot down this Mi-8T. And I've got these Wilprocs finally at the top of the mountain. And their fire support with Super Dragon missiles are going to be shooting at these APCs, trying to scare them off. This Mi-8T is trying to open up the Wilprocs, but my Stingers managed to finally get into position just in time and are able to shoot down that helicopter. My tanks over here in this tree line are being mortared, but Gaddafi's Leopard 1A5 is engaging a tank here somewhere, and with that missile he wisely is starting to retreat it. Will he manage to escape? Oh, nice side shot missile, managed to get that. BMP-2, they're trying to engage my Verperks, or however you pronounce them. Another nice hit with the missile, but it seems like these BMP-Ts with their autocannons are successfully hitting these blue pokes. But I bring up an escort to take care of these BMP-2s with its 76 missiles, Apache helicopter. My KCT does manage to successfully take out the Igla missile, so that removes the danger from my escort as my Stingers shoot down another Ka-52, thus successfully securing this town from us, which would be a very big hurdle into trying to secure Foxtrot. Now, there was a T-64 BM right here, so I'm trying to move my KCTs. They do got the Carl Gustav anti-tank recoilless rifle, So if they can get a nice side shot against this T-64 BM, they'll be able to take it out. It does seem to be... Ooh, they got a nice side shot, but not quite enough to take it out. I tried to move them over into a position. Imagine its front armor, it's still alive, so this T-64 BM doing an amazing job in staying alive from the KCT. But with the stabilizer malfunction and I moved the KCT into position, the Carl Gustav finally takes out that tank pretty well. Now, I tried to bring in some infantry, and the enemy managed to bring in artillery strike very successfully on top of my Corps Marineers. Now, my Corps Marineers are going to have to, I decide to, since they're panicked and wounded, just trundle them here onto the FOB, where they can repair up and get ready into the fight, because I'm not going to send them wounded when they can just go past and, of course, resupply. So we've got Juliet secured. Bubblebox is doing an amazing job holding a wide front. He's got a Leopard and some Milan 2s. Infantry squad here, shielding against this forest region on the left. He's beginning to put more troops here on the right, so he is a bit thin. He's got some Milan 2s and a Flak Panzer Gepard, and is moving to CV, or Gaddafi's moving to CV into position. So that allows Bubblebox to spend more on troops, and like these IHawk Heos, which are of course not radar, so don't have the radar stats. So seed planes will not affect them, and they'll be able to provide good shield coverage against aircraft without Bubblebox having to micromanage that on and off. So I do manage to bring in some reinforcements. These YP armored personnel trucks, they do move pretty fast off-road and on-road, and so once my infantry get in position, I'll unload them and start putting them in this town. Even though my KCT is quite damaged, they're able to see where everything is, including this APC heading into this forest, and that there is more vehicles going here on the right, like this. There's a Strela 10. Looks like another APC is there. The KCT shoots at the Moskaya Pakotas. It reveals themselves, and I don't want them taken out as they're providing valuable recon, so I do move them back. I do have a helicopter supply who's going to come forward. I guess I'm going to try to resupply the KCT. As looks like a Mars attack. Yep, Mars from Gaddafi is dropping over here to try to send out the vehicles. Now, I kind of hope that they would miss this. Troops don't naturally attack supply troops, and I was just kind of hoping that they weren't paying close enough attention that I could land a supply helicopter for this KCT, but no such luck, and I realized that the players that I was fighting was better than I gave them credit for. But given the fact that the KCT does manage to take out an APC, and I'm bringing forward other KCT forward, but that MiG-29 with its 4 500-kilogram napalm bombs, dropping them right down on top of my, right between where the infantry would be. Unfortunately, I moved my Corps Marineers out of the line of fire, then my KCT into a fresh building, where 2 KCT against Panic Moskaya Pakotas, no contest. The KCT elite troops will be able to take that out just fine, as they also open up with their Carl Gustav and take out a BMP. So, I definitely have secured this town. I'm moving my escort back and forth. I'm trying to stay out of range of the Strela 10M. I see there's another APC going over here, and I guess I'm going to try to take it out. But these Strelas are definitely going to be providing the most annoyance to be able to provide any kind of air support. But I do bring up more Vurpug 95s, which I think they're very good fire support, because not only can they attack vehicles from a long ways away, but they can also hit infantry with the 2 HE power. So I'm bringing the Vurpugs to try to basically shoot and knock back the Strela and its APC, as well as put the Stingers maybe on the mountain here, or further up into this building, to try to definitely secure this whole right side area as possible. And I chanced getting close to the Strela 10M. Strela 10M does get a couple lucky shots, just got into a range, third shot while it's spinning for a good measure. So I did lose an escort, and that was my bad. But here on the left, Gaddafi is starting to push forward and is finding out what the enemy has. They have some Saprezi, which are going to stun up and wreck those Panzer Grenadiers, but he is following up with a couple Leopard 2A1s, and he's beginning his assault into Foxtrot. Now, unfortunately, Bubblebox, he can't really assault any position because he is on pure defense mode. When you have this wide a front, when you just like 1, 2, 3, 4 basically points of entry of assault that enemy could try to come after you, you can't really push forward, especially when we know that there's 4 enemies while there's only us 3 to try to win this game, essentially, since Boy Vance left. Another Mars strike on the back, looking for probably the CV and any other vehicles that might be there. Leopard, and oh, something blew up. Gaddafi seemed to have gotten the CV, and there it is. Yep, it was a CV APC. Leopard 2A1 was going forward. I'm sure he felt quite confident because he saw only Saprzi, but Moskaya Picotas with their RPGs are definitely going to be provide a threat, so Gaddafi wisely retreats with his Leopard 2A1. And Mi-28 is beginning to attack it with anti-tank guided missiles, but that Leopard 2A1 going really fast into reverse managed to get out of range of the Mi-28. As I bring up a AH-64 TD, I tried to go for the Strela, but it manages to shoot it down again. So that is unfortunate here. But then I realized I had all these APCs forward, so I began throwing them forward against the enemy, followed with these Laro TOW-2s. Now these are cheap TOW-2 trucks, very accurate. They're not going to survive a hit, but they're basically to provide fire support. And given that I have all these APCs up front to distract the enemy, I'm basically using these cheap trucks to screen and shield and take the shots for these TOW-2 missiles as they open up with their basically the TOW-2s and try to wipe out any vehicles that might be there, and they successfully do so. Now, they keep driving forward into the napalm, probably not the best decision on my part, but I am trying to get forward, and there the Moskaya Picotas are revealed, and even though they do have really good RPGs to take care of the YP trucks, all of these Browning machine guns are going to rip apart the last of these Moskaya Picotas and essentially start pushing them out of Foxtrot. So the enemy has another Mi-28 trying to shoot at my YPs, but my YPs do successfully get into the forest as the enemy does bring in some bombs that just basically bomb the forest here. I do bring up Block 1, they successfully shoot down one plane, they go for another and successfully shoot that down as 2. Now rather than retreat and MiG-29, I go for, and I get a third plane. So these Block 1s, they're 90 points, and their missiles aren't the longest range, but they're very accurate and pretty well, you can get a lot of them in at a pretty good veterancy. And they both get out, so definitely shot down a number of planes there today. My TOW-2 finally ran out of missiles, was just firing, and firing. That Mi-28, if it gets too close to these Stingers, those Stingers will take it out. We do successfully secure a Ural as I start bringing forward a YP-408 CV to try to secure Foxtrot, as the Mi-28 does get too close to my Stingers. And that TOW-2, very lucky, he's been missed so many times, stalling just long enough that hopefully the Stingers will be able to get a shot in. Can they shoot it down? Alright, they shot down the Mi-28. And the BMP is in full reverse as the Vuprog 95s are opening up with the ATGMs and unfortunately do not succeed. So, Leroy Jenkins 90 just left. So it's now turned into a 3v3, which means that the point distribution is now going to be a little more balanced. So rather than them having points split 4 ways, it's now split 3 ways like us, so it might turn into a much more even fight. After this hard-won push into Foxtrot, we need to all relax and repair up. The captured Euro is already out of supply, so I'll begin sending that back to ferry supplies back and forth. As I finally bring up a second helicopter, this time with no threat of Strela 10Ms to engage it, and to land and repair up my infantry. We've got an anti-radar plane, the Su-22M. The Cheetah does go down, allowing that plane to, I guess, fly off and try to discover if any other of Bubblebox's AA is radar, which it is not. Oh, he found something. Oh, I sound corrected. He manages to find 2 cheetahs and manages to successfully take them out. So very nice work there. Some Su-24s, seed planes as well. I do start engaging with my Block 1s. They shoot down one plane. Can they shoot down the other? Yes, they do. These Block 1s are really doing work. So, yeah, I really like these Block 1s. They're cheap and very efficient for their price. I bring an escort to stop the enemy push with these APCs. As my APCs start revealing that this Mskaya Pikota is pushing forward here on the left. So the enemy is definitely wanting to get Foxtrot back. But my CV is in position here, Foxtrot. Sorry, Gaddafi, I beat you there to it. And so we are starting to get a points advantage with this +5 from Foxtrot. So the longer we hold this game, the more we will have in terms of points to work with. This Fern Spar is sniping this Mskaya Pikotas. It's getting awfully close to that Sopel, which will take them out with that Gatling gun on the front there, or just a couple of, looks like it's just a couple of autocannons. Over here on the left, there is some Kamadozi that the Fern Spar from Bubblebox are revealing, as well as some APCs. So the enemy is definitely at the gates here at Bravo, and possibly here at Delta. Gaddafi is doing a blind CV Mars attack with cluster munition. Will he get one? Not seeing any sparks. Well, it is a lucky guess. Don't think he'll actually get anything, but it was definitely a good effort. Gaddafi's pushed forward his Panzer Grenadiers in front of my Leopard. These will, if they engage into infantry can only use either the light machine gun or the anti-tank, as Gaddafi's Rolands are shooting down these Yaks as they approach. So if the enemy infantry starts opening up on Gaddafi's Panzer Grenadiers with their light machine guns, then my Leopard will be able to provide good coverage there as well. Now the enemy finally has gotten enough of my Block 1 to brought in a lot of anti-air, so 3 of my Block 1s do go down, which could have been worse in terms of points, but definitely not the best thing that could have happened, especially since we'll probably need them to shoot down more aircraft. A helicopter is moving forward, trying to scout out what Bubblebox has here on the left, as he is opening up with his mortars to pepper the enemy that he definitely saw. Flak Panther Gepard A2 still does not see it. He has it in the middle of the forest. If it was on the edge, it probably would have shot down that helicopter. And it can now, as it's finally gotten to a clearing between that forest to be able to successfully shoot down that recon helicopter for Bubble. The Bubble's just basically covering our entire left flank as we're trying to push into Echo, which is the enemy spawn point. Now these Martyr 2s are on the ridge. They have a very powerful autocannon, and very accurate too, so they'll be able to definitely screen against a number of vehicles. As I also bring up my Stingers over here on the left to be able to cover for any helicopters that might try to come and take out Gaddafi's Martyr 2s. Now I move forward my KCTs to this forest. This will allow us to have recon over the area and better access where in Echo the enemy is. A single lone Mskaya Pikota officer is trying to run back to his front line. Run, Mskaya, go! I think he's going to get away. So that's definitely worthwhile for him. The Martyr 2s with their accurate guns are tearing apart these Morskaya Pikotas over here, as well as the Panzer Grenadiers as they start getting into range, as well as all that's left is still more infantry. A Yak 38 is bringing in bombs, but Gaddafi's Roland 3s are still providing pretty good air coverage. They napalm these Martyr 2s, and one of those Martyr 2s was on 1 hit point, so it does go down, but these others should be able to get out no problem. The enemy is bringing in a whole bunch of air over here on the left, so they may be trying to engage onto Bubble's side here. They've got a MiG-29 as I divert a Block 1 to intercept the enemy, especially with these 1,000 kilogram bombers. So my Block 1 is on the tail end of the Su-22, does overshoot it, tried to turn around just in time. Will he be able to? No, the plane does get out. That's unfortunate. The Monostrelki tried to push forward, but they made some KCTs, so they'll definitely regretted moving into that forest region. My infantry are all supplied up here onto this village, and as soon as we bring more troops to begin pushing the Echo, I should be moving them over to this ridgeline to be able to provide coverage, especially these Verplugs. They'll be able to shoot their missiles at the infantry in the building as well, stunning up and damaging them to their heart content. Now I'm bringing forward some vehicles here. These are probably Corps Marineers in these YP 408s. As actually, yeah, these are the Corps Marineers that I resupplied at the FOB. I actually took some APCs, a stack of 83 APCs, back, picked them up, and brought them forward here to the front line, where they're all rested, ready to go. And it's as if the enemy never artilleried them to begin with. So, good use of recycling units. I bring forward my Euro, which is repairing Gaddafi's Martyr 2 and Roland's 3s. I'm moving my original Corps Marineers up front and the Verplugs and Stingers up here so I can begin my assault onto Echo. Because we definitely need to figure out the CV. Now, the CV could be anywhere. They could be here in this forest ridgeline, or could be here in this entire village. As you can see, they have plenty of places to hide their CV and Echo. And we definitely need to go and try to find it. So some infantry revealed themselves and the Verplugs opened fire, but none of those missiles actually hit because they couldn't keep inside of them long enough. CV got neutralized. I think the enemy bombed the actual CV. So whoever got control of Boy Band's actual CV at the start of the game is now finally moving it forward to kill and capture India and secure it so we can get our points lead still. I am bringing some Corps Mariner 90s and Leopard IVs, so we can also begin reinforcing Foxtrot so we can also begin our push into Echo. As it is kind of the lull hits at the moment, we're just building up, ready to move forward to Echo, and the enemy begins to make a massive push forward with lots of tanks. Now these Milan 2s and this Leopard 2A4 are going to have quite a lot of work that they're going to have to do to try to hold these tanks off. They do manage to take out the lead tank, but we're definitely going to need aircraft, but the enemy has fought forward, and there are some anti-aircraft. It looks like Tunguska's in the crowd. I believe I remember telling Bubblebox to take out the anti-air with his Milan 2s. And if he can successfully do that, and he does take out one, then we'll be able to bring in all the aircraft we want and be able to stop this tank push. Bubblebox is throwing these Leopards into full reverse. That CV is out in the open, so that is hard. Gaddafi's bringing forward some touchdowns, helicopters, as well as Block 5s and all the air support. I even bring forward my own touchdown with their anti-tank, with their Hellfire missiles. So that looks like that Tunguska did manage to go down, as missile death rains down on top of these tanks, but they do their job and take out the CV. But these tanks are quite expensive, and we successfully clean up the attack. Now, I do realize that I called these AH-64 TDs touchdowns, and I don't know why. I don't even think about it, but whenever I see these, I see the TD and I just call it touchdown. So if you ever hear me say touchdown, I'm referring to this type of helicopter, which has 16 Hellfire missiles, basically the Apache, anti-tank Apache for the Dutch. So we do manage to take that out. Bubblebox misspells nice and makes it noise with C instead of an S. So I know he was trying to be all fancy and feel nice with taking out those expensive tanks, and everyone would feel nice about taking those expensive tanks, as another recon helicopter goes down to the persistent Gepard A2 of Bubblebox. So, with all that commotion on the right, I resupplied these LVT with Corps Mariner 95s in them. Now, the reason why I had to resupply them is that they have very poor autonomy. They actually nearly ran out of fuel at this point, so this is the refuel point that I have them prepared before I begin pushing forward. There are some Mosquia Picota 90s here into this forest, but this fire here does restrict their movement for the time being, as the Leopard Recon is providing very good coverage here on the right. I do inform Gaddafi that there's some Mosquia Picotas coming for his Leopard. And my Stingers are staying out in the open by this BRDM-3, so the air coverage on this mountain is finally taken down. Now I do bring forward my Lance, and I'm starting to launch them forward. And the whole purpose of the Lance is to panic up the enemy's infantry into these regions and damage them. And since now that all the enemies panicked, my calm troops will be able to push forward and finally secure Echo. And I should be moving forward soon, but I guess I was probably distracted by the infantry here on the left. My Leopard 1s are moving forward. I still have not moved these LVTs, and I'm not sure why I forgot them, but I should be moving them shortly. But right now what we have to deal with is the fact that there's infantry, and infantry actually are very good against tanks in the forest area, because when they get that close they can just open up with their RPGs, and the tank can't stun them enough to keep the infantry at bay. Now, finally my troops are moving forward. The Gurupers are firing their missiles and hitting these Picota's mechs as the Corps Mariners push really quickly into the building here. The Corps Mariner guns are, of course, sound very awesome. I do like it. Now, they do engage against another enemy, and now the Corps Mariners, which I have at Elite, you can see with their FAL at 80%, even though a number of them are panicked, they still have an 85% accuracy with that FAL. So, even though Corps Mariner 95, they're very good, Corps Mariner that Elite are excellent in engaging in stationary combat against the enemy. So I'm pushing forward with KCTs, which have a very good stabilizer. Same stabilizer. So they're basically going to be the assault moving forward, just constantly moving and shooting at the enemy. As I do bring forward one of my stacks of Corps Mariners, regular Corps Mariners, to be able to clean out this forest region, as finally my Corps Mariners 95s do coming out with the LVT-4s and are pushing forward. And what's good about these LVT-4s is that they are vetted up, which means that all those Browning machine guns that they have in their arsenal do share that vet up accuracy. A Yak-38 Napalm does try to stall against my my infantry pushing forward, so I do need to be mindful of that. But my Leopard IVs do manage to successfully take out the tank as Gaddafi mars that position to secure that for our use. That was weird. My Stingers are shooting down the Yaks here. As my Corpinians are pushing forward, they may be panicked, but they haven't lost a single man, and they are still quite accurate against these infantry as they move forward. These Makai Picotas are also stunned, so definitely working out. As I'm also bringing forward some, how do I pronounce it? Stutorupin. I bring forward the regular Stutorupin because they are 20 points, but they also have the same FAL and accurate machine gun. So I feel like these infantry, which are less accurate, less vetted up, as my Block 16s do manage to shoot down some tanks and such. But these Stutorupin, with their very accurate gun, are also very good at being a front line and securing, as their guns will miss far less with the accuracy of their guns. Even though they do have a less fire rate, I'm basically going for accuracy here with my Dutch deck, as my Corps Mariners and Stutorupin successfully clear out all the enemy here in the forest. Now, the fact that my Corps Mariners are in the building, their entire goal is to try to find the CEV. It's less important that they actually kill everything, but with these sappers, I do need to avoid, because with all those, with the napalm, especially all this fire that the enemy has, it's going to be quite worrisome. Mars attack is coming in over here, over where the tanks are, so the enemy does have to push back to try to get my Corps Mariners to retreat from the sappers, but those napalm is certainly doing work. So I'm successfully clearing out this entire region, or at least scouting it out, everything, as the enemy does have some APCs still here. but Gaddafi has some Corps Mariners on behind, so they'll be able to take out those BTR ADAs. A Yak 38 is going to come and bomb this region where my infantry are. Napalm it, so that's going to have to dislodge them quite well. But another Yak goes down. The Corps Mariners are trying to keep these Saproseeds at bay, as my Corps Mariner 95s over here are still trying to secure and find out where all the CVs are. Now some Basilisks are revealed, and they do manage to successfully take out one. The other one's on the far side of the bridge, so it needs to maneuver in position. And at this point, it seems that they swept the entire village and have not found a command vehicle. Now, an Mi-24 does fly over it, and I tell the Corps Mariners to engage, try to shoot as much damage as possible. They do panic it. They hit the targeting system, so it's very significantly less accurate. I move them back over to the position of this building and take out that Basilisk to take out their mortar support. And now they have all these suckles with probably Commando the infantry. They're trying to clear out these Corps Mariner 95. So this is definitely going to be a battle of the elite infantry, but they do have the advantage, being the fact that they're on the spawn point, and they have helicopter support with Gatling guns on the side. So not going to look good for my Corps Mariner 95s here. My infantry back here are depleted. Gaddafi's bringing forward some Leopard 185s for support, but this BU and Twardy be two heavy tanks. These Leopard 2A1s and 185s are not really going to do much against these tanks. Unless he can take out that BU, can he? He takes out something there. My infantry are engaging the helicopters with their machine gun, and helicopters do not take fire, especially concentrated fire, for very long. So my Corps Mariners are playing a desperate last stand struggle against them. They shoot down the other helicopter and start beginning to shoot down on these Commandosi. They do bring in a bomber against my Corps Mariners and successfully take out the weakest squad over here, but these Corps Mariner 95 still in position and willing to fight these Commandosis to the death. But these Commandosis still have the support from these Sokols. So my Corps Mariners are taking quite a big beating. The enemy has put a really good defense. Now, we should have realized that after this sweep, the enemy probably has the CV here in the forest line, but we were definitely quite busy with dealing with the fact that I just lost my entire Corps Mariner from the amount of troops here in this building, and we definitely need to try to push forward, which with my wounded troops here is not going to be very long, I do believe. A Twardy and the Leopard 2A1 get into a fight. Who wins? The Leopard 2A1, but not before it shoots down a Gepard A2. Nice try, Gaddafi. This Mi-28 is supplying, and we do see this fob. So we have been constantly drilling and pushing into Echo. And with the fact that it's 3v3, it's definitely an even fight at this point. I tried to retreat with my Corps Mariner 95. I'm desperately trying to bring forward supply vehicles to try to resupply my troops if they somehow manage to survive as they push forward. Gaddafi turned on the radar for the Flak Panther Gepard A2 and is successfully trying to hold off the enemy Commandosi. More bombers are coming forward. The Flak Panther Gepard A2 as well. He's also putting napalm over here to try to hold off, so there is a good chance that those supply trucks will be able to reinforce all my troops here that still have a foothold into this building area. But this new Twardy is definitely going to be harassing Gaddafi's Gepard A2. A MiG-27M is going to come over, probably for an anti-tank run, but does get shot down by the fact that we do have Fliegerfaust here into this forested region and are shooting down helicopters and airplanes as they come out. So I signal Bubblebox is going to be putting a lance here. This Twardy successfully takes out that Gepard A2. Gaddafi tries to make his own push with the Corps Mariners, but there are just way too many troops, and the Sapri with their napalm is panicking these Corps Mariners far too much for them to be really effective, and it dislodges them from that building because the napalm, that building is on fire. So they go out into open in the street, and the Commandosi just rip them apart to shreds. I tried to bring forward my Corps Mariners to try to assist, but they were all dead at that point. And these BTRTs managed to arrive just at the right time with their grenade launcher and begin opening up on my Corps Mariners. So, if I was smart, I should have just retreated the Corpse Marineers back. I just saw that how low the Commandosi were, and I tried to even move my Stoto Rupin forward. But I have them on attack move, and these BTRTs with these grenade launchers and just continuous fire are definitely doing work against these Commandosis. But the only solace is this APC with its autocannon is beginning to open up on the infantry as they reveal themselves. But now it's beginning to take the grenade launcher fire from the BTRT. So these Stoto Rupin are definitely going to be trying to distract these infantry. As I bring a lance forward, doesn't seem to have hit anything. As we are still, I'm still trying to hold the position here, and here comes my AMX. What was it? PRVRs. They're very little amount of fuel, but I like these because they are amphibious, so they're more mobile. The Corps Marineers are now finally engaging into the fight of their lives, backed up by the KCT, trying to hold off the infantry. The infantry is all panicked, and the Corps Marineers are doing quite work, but the Commandosi managed to get into this building. So now they're being flanked on two sides. My Stoto Rupin are on the back line, trying to do what they can, but it does look like the enemy might push us out here. The Commandosi wisely comes in here to try to take out our Stinger missiles. The Corps Marineers are now surrounded, and my AMX trucks with nothing to resupply are starting to fall back to a better position, as my Vuprog 95s are beginning to open up on these BTRTs as they try to cross the field. Now, they do have decent-ish accuracy, so some of these are missing, but they do hit, so they are taking out these BTRTs like they're supposed to. Massive fight still engaging. I have a Cheetah engaging these BTRTs to try to successfully take them out. Now, the thing is about the Cheetah and the Gepards is that they run out of ammo pretty darn quickly. And an AMX did get captured because it was isolated, and they do successfully intercept it and trying to, looks like, bring it back to the position. These Corps Marineers are still alive against these Commandosi, and with very accurate 85% FAL rifles and 65% light machine guns, which they're actually almost out of ammo or, they just might take out these Commandosis. The fact that there's 3 squads against 1 is a good bet. And they're also being resupplied by my AMXs as well. Can they do it? This last fight between these infantry, elite versus elite, will my Corps Marineers succeed? It looks like they just might succeed, as Gaddafi's touchdowns are bringing forward to take out these tanks that are trying to move across the field. 120 down, and the Corps Marineers did such a good job against the Commandosi, but unfortunately, Picota's mechs do move in, and these Corps Marineers are not going to stand up very much longer against these Picota's mechs. I do bring forward some of those supply trucks to resupply these Cheetahs, as they do start opening up on those BTRTs, and studying them up and damaging them and trying to take these out so that we can actually try to push again forward into Echo. Now, the Corps Marineers are definitely not going to survive much longer. They definitely held out very well, but the enemy, with the fact that the reinforcement point happens to be just there, and we have a long line of supply, as we can see, all these reinforcement troops are going to take a while to get to the front. They do successfully push us out of Echo. So it was definitely a very good push on our part, but they definitely had a very good defense. That said, we are still in the lead at 11,700 points with their 9,000 points as well. So definitely good push overall. Bubblebox is still holding this left side. His Tiger and Escort are out of missiles, so they definitely engaged something over here. And here are the smoldering remains. It looks like some helicopters, so the enemy might have been trying to prepare to move across the forest, but Bubblebox with his keen eye saw them and said no such luck. Bubblebox is beginning to also help us out with this lance, firing it forward. No idea where that's exactly going. And Mi-28 is coming for my Leopard 2A5s, and I don't have any air support, so these things need to back up. Fortunately, they have the front armor pointed towards the Mi-28. One does take a shot in the face, but the massive front armor does allow it to survive against that shot. I bring a Block 1 up to try to shoot down that Mi-28. One missile does hit, But there is some anti-air fire, so I do have to evac my Block 1 as it gets successfully out of there. My Leopard 285 does get into position to start shooting at the Scott 2AM, so this Leopard 285 is providing shielding fire, as this Leopard 285 is taking cover, hiding behind these buildings here, as I bring forward some supply helicopters to resupply it and get it all repaired up. I do have another Leopard 2A5. That is because, well, as you can see, I also have a lot of IHawks, as 6 missiles went and took out that plane. I do have 3 Leopard 2A5s, and you may wonder, why do you have 3 Leopard 2A5s? But remember, boy bands left at the start of the game, so we actually get more troops per stack for this part of the game as compensation. Then General Over with his Mi-28 does see that there are some Stinger missiles headed his way from Bubblebox, and he's widely retreating, and also manages to dodge the mortar fire that Bubblebox has brought forward. So even though Bubblebox is tasked with guarding this entire left side, he is devoting a considerable amount of troops and indirect fire to try to help us re-secure and take out Echo. So props to him for definitely helping us out. I moved my Leopard 2A4s here to screen, and I definitely want to be able to push forward, and better to do that, we need to have tanks in this tree line to rain down and shoot at this building area and definitely try to secure this region here. Now my Leopard does manage to see that there's some infantry in this forest area, which was unfortunate. I was trying to bring it forward with its very good optics and try to see what we can see here leading up to Echo, because we definitely need to sit back and rethink how we're going to push forward, as they did successfully push us out of Echo. If we want Echo, we definitely need a new or more prepared plan of attack. Now these Leopards I do quite like. Very good optics, nice accurate gun. So these tanks, even though they're recon, I do end up bringing them in a lot like I would from the tank department. As they manage to bring forward, some infantry do reveal themselves at the very worst possible time and get torn to shreds, as I do reposition some Leopard, the Leopard 2A4, then the Cheetah back, so that they be farther away from this hill where infantry have been last spotted. But that also means I'm going to need to get infantry there to engage any that might come over that forest region. Now there's some anti-tank guided missiles here in this forest here. As I'm pushing forward, the tanks that were screening here on the left are now going to be pushing forward to this ridge line and try to push forward there. An Su-24M says hi to 6 IHawk Heos again. So that was unfortunate for them, as well as the Cheetah shooting down a helicopter as well. Now an Su-24M is coming forward. These tanks took quite a bit of damage as well. One goes down, but the other one does get his massive payload off, but at the cost of his life. But those 250 kilogram bombs only got 1 Cheetah out of all the infantry, all the vehicles that I had there. So definitely a much better trade for our part. Bubblebox is opening up with his mortars, trying to take out the supply vehicles, and successfully do it too. My Verprug 95s are opening up as much as they can with their missiles and actually ran out. As Gaddafi's moving forward with his Flak Panther Gepard A2s, and my Leopard 2A5 is beginning to engage any kind of enemy that they could possibly see. Now I do like that they gave the Leopard 2A5s his heavy tank. I hope they'd be able to do that for other nations that aren't played as much. This T-64BM is going toe-to-toe with the Leopard 2A5. Unfortunately, Gaddafi's Flak Panthers are in range, and that tank is going to go for them. So he needs to be careful, or he's going to lose those Flak Panthers. But fortunately, I have another Leopard 2A5 insecure, and the third one, finally being repaired up, is ready to go. As we're going to, looks like trying to do another push again, as Gaddafi is pushing forward with the very, very well-trained Panzer Grenadier 90s, provided with these Leopard 2A5 anti-tank support, and these Leopard 1A5s from Gaddafi. So with Verprug 95s, tanks, and infantry, we have definitely began our push here on the forward onto Echo, as it's all quiet here on the Western Front. on Bubblebox's side. I put an attack marker saying that there is something here that is attacking vehicles to let everyone know. But in the meanwhile, we are still pushing forward. The Panzergrenadier 90s are in the high ground. All the infantry are panicked up here in the forest, but the enemy is fanning out some T-55 Meridias, which they're very accurate gun. They definitely try to hold us off. The Leopard 2A5s are going to be able to take that out no problem. My Cheetah has taken enough hit that it's routing, running away, which I'm actually quite fine with because it was too close to these tanks to begin with as well. The Leopard 2A5 is trying to take some hits. I bring a Block 1 to try to provide some air cover in case they thought about bringing forward a helicopter. The Leopard 2A5 did get hit, so his firing computers reset, so he's not very accurate. And I try to repeat another Leopard 2A5. The Meridias are going right into a Mars Smirch attack, as one Leopard 2A5 does go down, and these two are not in any very good position to keep engaging. But Gaddafi does have some Leopard 1A5s, but they engaged some BTR-80As, and they were so wounded that the BTR-80s do manage to essentially take them out. The MiG-29s are engaged in my Block 1, and my Block 1 had its tail to them when they first engaged. So even though I tell the Block 1 to engage, it does go down. However, the MiG-29s did fly too close to some AA, as one of them did go down for the trouble. So that was still an even trade, even though I lost a Block 1. That was a 90-point unit for a 135-point plane as well. So we still won that engagement. And the enemy has successfully nullified a second push that we did, trying to push forward into the Kansas area. Now, I bring forward more of those Leopard recon tanks, and as they push forward, they're going to engage into these Meridians, which are panicked and wounded. And these Leopards have no dealings, have no cares about those tanks. Now, T-64 BV1s, they might, because these are very good tank infantry. That Cheetah could not escape, because the moment he revealed himself, those T-64s would have shot it. As the enemy does reveal that they have a BU, which these Leopards cannot engage toe-to-toe, so they, wisely, I throw them into the reverse, and try to get them into a better position to escape from the BU, or just basically this far. I'm like, okay, BU, this is your furthest range, so this is where they'll stay. Oh no, I brought in a tank, anti-tank aircraft, and it lost sight of the BU. Unfortunately, do lose that expensive F-16 with its anti-tank guided missiles. Some T-64 BV-1s are moving forward. The Leopards are going to begin opening up, but wow, 3 shots, 3 hits, all of them wounded. I throw the reverse. Let's get them out of here. One does go down. But if I can get behind this, up on this bridge behind the forest, they should be able to get away. They do successfully do so. They've re-engaged upon the Jaegers that Bubblebox has brought forward to try to go and take over this town. Now I do have infantry, and the whole purpose of this infantry would be unloaded, put into this forested area, and prevent the enemy infantry from walking up here and trying to sneak us here in our flank. Which I do that just now. My Verpuk 95s are beginning to open up again with their anti-tank guided missiles. Like I said, they aren't the most accurate, but they are unique in that they can hit infantry as well as tanks, so it's still nice to have them in. These Martyr 2s are trying to escape with the infantry. One does go down, but those Panzergrenadier 90s did not take any damage from being taken out. As Bubblebox is pushing forward with his Panzergrenadiers into this town and trying to secure this region. But these T-64 BV-1s are providing excellent screening coverage and are definitely going to take out those Martyr 2s and I think nullify these Panzergrenadiers from being able to successfully push forward. Now I pushed a Leopard 2A4 out and began attacking this fob. And the reason why I do that is I do have Cheetahs and other Leopards. So I have a lot of firepower, and basically this Leopard 2A4 is going to be turning into bait. I try to bring forward my other tanks forward here, but they do have an APC with an autocannon. It does take a headshot, and it doesn't actually see the Leopard for some reason, but the Leopard can see it. And it successfully takes it out. So while Bubble is distracting here on the right, I am distracting them by attacking the fob here on the left. A MiG-27M tries to go for it, misses with its missile, and the cheetahs and the air coverage shoots down that MiG-27M as my tank continues to fire at the fob, and I bring forward my other Leopard, which I'm going to move forward here onto this forest, because one thing about this is medium stealth, which means that it could definitely hide and fire at the same time. The enemy wisely bring forward an SU-22 to take out the seed, but we do have some Heos, or with that Roland 3s, Bubblebox's Roland 3s managed to take down that seed aircraft. So definitely doing good for a different style of approach. One tank does take out a Ural as it comes down, as this fob is taking significant damage, as this Leopard 284 is just hammering it with its gun. I bring forward my Leopard with its medium stealth. Even though it's on 1 health, it's still going to be able to provide some fire. I tell my Leopard 284 to re-engage these BMPs, as they do have anti-tank guided missiles. The Leopard 284 does take a whack in the face, but it's definitely it still took it out, so it's still going to live. And it was nearly out of ammo, but I think I moved the AMX close enough that it resupplied this Leopard 284. So now it has enough ammunition to begin opening up. I want to take out this fob because it will be an additional 75, and it removes one of their points of resupply into the region. And it's also been taunting me the entire game, and I wanted it to die. Now he's bringing T-64 BV-1s to engage this Leopard 284, but like I said, I've got Leopards here on this high ridge, able to side shot as they come down this road, and essentially, like I said, this 284 is bait. And I was trying to lure out as many troops as I could to try to take out, and so far it's been working out. Taking out a number of their troops with little losses. Just having a tank out in the open is all the bait you really need. They can survive a number of attacks. Not all of them, of course, but out in the open will draw the enemy's attention. They will try to take it out. If you have the proper coverage for that tank, definitely a worthwhile tactic to apply. Some napalm tanks are napalming this area as they try to push forward. Seeing these tanks and their napalm, I did not want anything to do with it, so I'm going to move some Stotroopin up to engage these tanks and take them out. They do take one out, but the napalm blocks off their escape route. Fortunately, I have another 3 squads to cover this hill region. I move forward the Stotroopin. Can they find the other tank, or is the other tank dead? I thought there was 2 napalm. I guess not. So now that they're on this side of the napalm, I guess I'm just like, well, they're going to be picked apart anyway, so I just have them stand and fight whenever infantry open up on them. So, farewell, Stotroopin. You did take out that napalm tank, but unfortunately you are going to get caught in the crossfire. Bubblebox and Gaddafi are doing their bars smirch attacks again, and that's a nice one. If they could take out that buck, it will definitely open up the air coverage. The buck does take some damage, but he's still alive. Can we get another good missile on top of it? Yes, we do. So that definitely takes out that coverage. They bring forward some Gonastroki to try to hit with their anti-tank guided missiles this Leopard 284, which is still out in the open, teasing and taunting them, which it's supposed to, with a little dead Soviet aircraft to keep him company. So, yep, definitely one of an interesting, good strategy to see all the tanks that they try to bring forward. Now they do change their attack, and have their infantry and their tanks far enough that they're able to finally take out my tank. But given all the stuff that we've killed beforehand, that was still definitely a worthwhile tactic. The T-72Ss are pushing forward, but with their with this tank's medium stealth and being flanked by this Leopard as well, they should be able to be taken out, although they do have Conquer, so they are definitely doing a pretty decent job. I do bring forward some blocks with some cluster munition. The cluster munition does unfortunately miss, but the Heos are engaging with their anti-airplanes. All their planes go down. I bring forward some MLUs, so even though I do have Block 1s, I do have the very good air superiority MLUs that the Dutch do have. The C-64 BV-1s are back into position, but the Leopard 2A4 is engaging them and does successfully take out those heavy tanks. And now he needs to take out these T-72Ss. This Leopard gets a nice shot on them. Leopard 2A4 does go down because it was on 1 point. And these APCs are opening up on these Flagger Fouls, but can this Leopard take out that T-72S? And essentially, we're just trying to kill as many troops as possible. Yes, it does. So now these... Oh, God. These are Twardies. These are really heavy-duty tanks that are finally into our front line. Those Stormtroopers are trying to hold them off with their Carl Gustavs, which are not really meant for that. In the meanwhile, I'm bringing forward all these escorts to try to guard these Leopards as they move forward, but the Tunguska, they do have to move back and defend, but Bubblebox has brought all the tanks, so he's been basically saving all the points in case they do a major push, and when they have not, he basically brings all forward all of his tanks and to begin his push forward here. His Black Panther Gepard A2 is going to take out these helicopters that are called to try to deal with those tanks. Unfortunately, one does go down, but he does have anti-aircraft helicopters here in the back line as well. If he can take out that Tunguska, my escort can move in. Can they move forward? The Twardy is still there, harassing as they do manage to take out our ridgeline here. But with the amount of tanks and aircraft that we have here, our plan of attack is to come through this right side and engage this reinforcement point and cut off the reinforcements from being able to effectively provide any reinforcements that the enemy could bring in. I don't know how that thought died in my head. I do apologize. Some new ones just spawned, but those would be they're definitely going to do work on these helicopters, especially with that Tunguska. But if those tanks can engage and take them out, one NUA goes down, second NUA goes down, but all of Bubblebox's escorts also go down with the Tunguska and those NUAs. Those two, but we still have plenty of tanks. I'm pushing for my Butterplug 95s. The Super Dragons can still provide excellent fire support if they can spot any of these infantry, as well as he's also pushing forward with his Jaegers. So Bubblebox, with all of his reserves of infantry and tanks, successfully manages to push it after Gaddafi and I exhaustively pushed into Echo, and the enemy exhaustively pushed us back. They don't have a lot of stuff. We didn't have a lot of stuff except for Bubble, who brings in everything at once. So a very interesting strategy. And did we get it? No. Oh no. Bubblebox, being a cheeky little guy, decides to put a CV and successfully nullifies Echo. So now they can't bring in any more reinforcements here through Echo. And the enemy CV has the CV been neutralized? Well, it has to have been, because now we can start bringing reinforcements from here and reinforce. And I start bringing forward basically my last squadron of Corps Mariniers 95s and their LVT4s. So now that my tanks have nothing else to do, Bubblebox did find that CV. I remember this. I was just like, the CV is probably somewhere in this forest. It just so happened that the flare that I put, which I just put randomly, happened to be right on where their CV was. So that was just a lucky guess by me. The enemy is trying to push forward with T-80A to try to counterattack. Seeing this, I was going to push forward with Bubblebox, as there's only 2 minutes left in the game, to try to get as far as possible. But I redirected my Leopards, and I told them to fast move onto this road to re-engage into these T-80s, these T-72Bs, and these T-55, basically all these tanks that are coming across the forest, which my tanks are no longer there to screen for. So basically there's going to be a massive last-end clash. I bring forward my Block 16, Block 10s with their cluster munition, aiming right for these T-80s and T-72s. He tries to dodge, but the cluster munition proves way too powerful and does take out 2 of the T-80As, and panicking and damaging all the other tanks. They do open up with their anti-tank guided missiles against their Marder 2s, but my tanks finally get close enough to begin opening up with their powerful guns. It was 2 A5s, and the Recon Leopard tanks, as backed up by Bubblebox's touchdowns, we're going to successfully clean up these tanks, earning ourselves a lot of points. And now basically it's trying to turn to who can kill more things faster at the end here, with Bubblebox's very accurate touchdowns, but my shells proved to be too fast for those missiles. Bubblebox has pushed forward his folks all the way up, manages to catch out a buck before they go down, as his convoy of leopards come forward and they nearly run out of fuel, and he probably caught that because they're all back into reverse, so to try to refuel, but with only 30 seconds on the clock, there is not much left to do. So I throw some M16A MLUs because we are massively in the lead, so even if we lose these planes, it's not going to be a huge loss. As I take out one Mi-24V, I want to turn around and get this Ka-52, but there's all the enemy's AA. As you can see, I'm not evacing because I want to try to take out the Ka-52, but those missiles do successfully take out my plane. It did get a hit, the explosion did hit the helicopter, but just wasn't enough to kill it, as the game does finally conclude. So, very, very nice, hectic game. We only got a minor victory out of that, even though we have a 5,000 point lead extra. Gaddafi scored about even. Very good. He and I definitely did a good job pushing on the Echo. Bubblebox did an outstanding job holding all the way off onto the left and bailing us out with this huge reinforcement of reserve troops to bring in and just smash through the enemy's exhausted defenses at the end. And I scored huge amounts of points with the tactic of baiting and fire support. I definitely killed a lot with 8,000 points. As we look at the kill, the KCTs did a good job as they pushed across that mountain. Those TOE2s did get a number of good kills. Block 1, shooting down 4 planes. I love these Block 1s so much. Verpug, so yeah, definitely a lot of good kills. Long kill list. It's infantry. Leopard 2A5 gets a lot of kills. Leopard 2A4s, this recon. So basically the tanks definitely earned their food for the evening. So yeah, very interesting game. I do want to thank General Over, WIIW, and Portugal Military for sticking it to the end. That definitely provided a very good game for you all. And so thank you all for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this game where I played again as the Netherlands and Dutch. Of course, since they came out recently, everyone wants to jump in on it, and I'm no exception. I've been wanting to play the Dutch more and more. And I'll try to get back to playing other commentary games of different decks with other variety of people. But I do hope you enjoyed this game. And if you did, please do like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I will see you all in the next video. So thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.